Debbie Goodman. This is Out and About with Debbie Goodman. Today finds me in Sanger, California, where we're going to be celebrating the 100th birthday of Georgia Stepp. I met Georgia about 45 years ago. Her daughter and I went to college together, and I'm telling you, you're going to see something quite remarkable today. George is the tall one in the jersey, has a number 30 on the back. Okay, so the news crew is even here from Channel 26, Fresno, California.
Yeah, oh, really? Yeah. Oh, wow. Hey, Grandma.
Talk Georgia into going down the water slide.
Oh, I'm okay.
How I can always count on you. Be there when the bullets fly. I'd run across the river just to hold you tonight. I bet you never heard old Marshall Dillon say, Miss Kitty, have you ever thought of running away? Settling down, would you marry me? If I asked you twice and beg you pretty please, should have been a cowboy, should have learned to rope and ride. Wear my six-shooter, ride my pony on the counter drive. Steal the young girl's heart, just like Gene and Roy, singing those campfire songs. Oh, should have been a cowboy. Yeah, should have been a cowboy.
Test, 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 test. Can you guys hear me over there? Can you hear me? A little bit louder? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. Okay. Here we go. You ready? Where do you pet my armadillo? Okay, here we go, my little armadillo. Okay. Okay, we're out here celebrating Georgia Idella. Georgia Idella, that's her real name, Georgia Idella. We're celebrating Georgia Idella's 100-year birthday today. Let's hear it for Georgia Idella. Okay, but guess what? Her daughter's going to be Georgia Idella right now. Okay, so, and this is Edna Eileen, my girlfriend.
Don't even look at me, just look at Daddy.
This is Edna Eileen, and this is Georgia Idella. Okay, wait just a minute. You get a little lumpy here. Okay, we've had a few, so this might take a little while. Okay, hey, Edna Eileen.
What, Georgia Idella?
Can you tell me?
Is this Juju?
This is Juju, little hairless. She got a little
She
hairless.
lost
My
some
dog.
hair?
My dog got a little hairless.
Did you give her something she wasn't
I
supposed to
think
have?
she's so shiny. She's so shiny. Hey. Okay, Edna. They can't hear Edna.
What?
Hey, so what do armadillos and Yoko Ono have in common, Edna Eileen?
Let me think about it, Georgia Idella. I gotta really think, because that's a hard one.
Okay.
Is it because they both live on dead beetles?
Yes, they both live on dead beetles. Yes, you got that right. You got that right. You're so smart. You're so smart. Okay. Can you tell me, Edna, get your fox hair straight here. Come on. What did the fox say?
I don't know.
What did the fox say?
That you're hot?
Oh, thank you. Okay, can you tell me, why did the chicken cross the road?
Georgia Idella, I kind of lost my train of thought. Was it, help me out, girlfriend, because, was it to prove that the armadillo could, or what was it? I can't remember.
To prove to the armadillo he could.
Oh,
To prove to the armadillo he could. Now,
I can't remember.
okay. So I was been feeling a little bit out of shape.
So what you gonna do about it?
Well,
Georgia Adela?
Well, I went to the doctor, and the doctor said I need to go join up a fitness class. So I went up to the fitness class, and so I went to stretching, and I went to doing some jumping jacks and gyrating all over the place, and I was sweating for an hour, and I was pulling up my stockings, and then the class was over. And I couldn't do anything else because the class was over after all of that. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay.
What do you want me to do?
Okay.
You want me to pull your stockings up?
No, my stockings is fine. Okay, how about
Hey, Georgia Adela,
yeah.
do you remember the minuet?
The minuet? Hell, Edna Eileen, I don't remember the men I slept with, much less the men I ate. Oh my goodness gracious sakes. What the heck you talking about? Oh my gosh. Mom, have you been doing lap dances today? Oh my goodness gracious, my mama got a $100 bill pinned to her shirt and her bra's hanging out and everything. And tell us about what it is to be a hunter.
Well, get off of my rope here.
I'm sorry.
It just feels like every day. Yeah, I'm just so thankful that all you people came out to see me and honor me. I don't think I deserve anything, but you know, I feel good, and I get up in the morning, I feel good, and I go to bed that way. I don't worry about anything. I never have. My husband used to say I could sleep on a coat hanger. But anyway, I'm just blessed with good health, and I'm just so thankful for my good health and strength that I have. So just live a good life. Don't be greedy, and don't be selfish. Just you know, be nice to people. Everybody, okay?
Okay, I would like if everybody could come up and tell a Georgia story. Everybody's got a Georgia story. Come on. Just a short Georgia story or a chance or a meeting. Come up. Debbie Goodman has this. Introduce yourself and say how you met.
Hi, I'm Debbie Goodman. I met Debbie at Fresno State in the horse husbandry class, and soon after they invited me to their rodeo parties. They talked me into running for rodeo queen, even though I only rode English at the time. Debbie taught me how to ride Western, barrel race, and I don't know if you remember when you were trying to teach me how to pole bend and the saddle slipped, and I'm still here. But those are some of the best years of my life. So I've known Georgia for 45 years, and my favorite Georgia story was the time I went to Merced to visit Debbie, and Phil and Fran were getting ready to take Georgia with them to a picnic. And she comes out in a tube top, and one side was down. And Phil yells, "Mom, your bra!" And she says, "Oh, I'm just getting in the mood."
That's a good one. Okay.
I didn't know
Come
that.
on, Kathy.
You forgot that
Kathy
one,
and
didn't you?
Kathy sitting there.
I don't know.
Okay, Kathy.
Captain Buddha is coming out.
Introduce yourself. Introduce yourself. And how long? Yes.
Okay, so I've known Georgia, Kathy Dieter. I lived with Debbie for... No.
Yes. Louder. Yes. Turn that way. They can't hear
Okay,
you.
so I lived with Debbie for 10 years, and I've known Georgia for... No, it was not like that at all. I'm just kidding. That was kind of the minuet time, okay? Wild time of life, anyway.
I can't tell you how many stories I know. I can't remember any individual. I remember you had all your little chihuahuas.
Yes.
And I remember early in the morning out at Polson Palace or whether it was the Herndon House. Hey, whatchamacallit? I can't remember their names now, but
Chiquita and Rue.
Chiquita and Rue. Chiquita! Rue! Where are you? Yes, and then you'd bring us food so I could cook it because you cook, but
And I couldn't.
no. So we would have all these people there. And guess who cooked?
Yeah, and I invited everybody.
Yes. She told me that. But Georgia was always there supporting us every rodeo. Oh my gosh, I'll start crying. When I had my hip surgery, who called me? I mean, all my family and all my friends did, but Georgia called me. I mean, never the truest friend in the world. We could all learn so much from her. Just treat people like you want to be treated. That's Georgia. I love you.
Okay, I will tell a story that is very, very famous throughout high school rodeo. Reed's senior year, we were at Oakdale at the rodeo grounds, and my mom, the rodeo was in September, okay, so my mom, I knew she was coming to the rodeo, and I told her when slack started, so we were just, you know, rodeoing whatever, so Reed rode broncs, and then he went, and he was in the calf roping. So he rode his bronc, and then he was, Jeff had his horse down at the other end of the arena, and if you guys know how Oakdale is set up, big arena, and then the smaller arena close to the grandstands. So all of a sudden, we're sitting there waiting for the tie-down roping was in the smaller arena, and we're moved from the big arena to the small arena, and I knew Mom was coming, she hadn't got there yet. So all of a sudden, people from the end of the bleachers closest to the restrooms at Oakdale started moving in our middle section. All of a sudden, the middle section started getting really full, and I'm like, what is going on? Why are these people moving, like so many people moving over? So we're sitting there. Then somebody started a rumor saying that there was a homeless woman that was digging through the dumpsters at Oakdale at the rodeo grounds. She was digging through the dumpsters, and I go, really? And so I'm looking at some of the rollaways dumpsters out there, and I can't see a homeless person digging through the dumpsters, and it was a woman, an old woman. So, an old woman. So all of a sudden, we're sitting there, and Reed walks by, and he goes, Grandma's sitting in that first section of bleachers that was all by itself. And I go, really? I go, why is she sitting over there by herself? And he goes, you'll see. And so I got up, and Reed had walked by the bleachers. Mom was dressed like a witch, like Mrs. Jones, so all in black with a witch's face on, a latex face, and just sitting there, and she was wearing size 12 shoes. She wears a 10. She climbed up to like the third set of bleachers, and she was just sitting there. And I see these kids are taking selfies behind her. They're taking pictures around her. And I sit down beside her, and I go, Mom, why are you sitting here? And she goes, I am having the most fun. She said, and she just moved her eyes back and forth. She goes, I'm not saying a thing. And she was laughing underneath. And I go, Mom, are you serious? I said, they said that there was a homeless person digging through the dumpsters. She goes, I have not. I pulled up in the handicap parking, and I sat right here. It wasn't me. And Reed walks by her with all these people taking pictures of her and everything, and he walks by and he goes, hi, Grandma. And he waves at her, and he just keeps walking down to get his horse. And she sat there and dressed like that, and she sat there probably a good hour before we even knew she was there. And then people were they were dying, and the kids were all taking pictures of her and stuff. And she also took her dog, her Chihuahua, in the post office, and had her dog in the post office in her purse, and one of the people in the post office said, ma'am, you cannot have only a seeing eye dog. She said, this is not a dog. And she shoved the dog down in the purse and zipped it up and kept doing her business and then walked out of the thing. And then, wait a minute. We got it. Hey, Dee Dee, somebody that remembers the frozen dog in the freezer. Come on, you guys remember the frozen dog in the freezer. Okay, you come here, Dee Dee, come here. Dee Dee's telling a story. My mom froze her dog. Okay, this is the lead in. My mom froze her dog. Okay. Well, we'll say because. You tell because.
You're the one that found it.
Okay, but.
No, so Debbie's at her mom's house, and she went to go to the freezer to get something. I think they were fixing dinner. Oh, salmon. They were going to cook salmon for dinner. And because George had gone to Alaska and got a bunch of salmon. So Debbie goes to the freezer to get the salmon so they could fix it for dinner. And here's this dog.
Frozen, just like that.
Frozen in the freezer.
A Chihuahua.
And you said?
I said, Mom, why is Rue in the freezer frozen? She said she couldn't figure out if she wanted to stuff her or bury her. So she kept her in the freezer. The dog died. The dog ran around the corner and hit her head on the corner of the couch and died instantly. And Mom put the dog in the freezer. And the dog was like this. Frozen salt. She kept that dog in the freezer for like 6 months. We finally said, my sister threatened to pull the plug on the freezer. That was so funny. That was a Georgia story. Okay.
I got another Georgia story. This is actually a story told by Debbie.
Any stories you want to
And
tell?
Debbie came over to the house, and I mean, it was like having one of the original cast members of Saturday Night Live in our living room. So this was when Debbie and Robin had moved out of an apartment in Clovis, and the landlord refused to give them their cleaning deposit back.
Oh my God.
So they went to court in Clovis. Now this is like back in the day. So
Clovis courthouse was in a museum.
Clovis Courthouse is in a museum. So I guess what happened was when they got outside, Debbie's mom says to the landlord or landlady, she goes, I think you're terrible taking advantage of these kids. They're hardworking and they're going to college and they don't have much money and yada yada. So the lady, I guess, swings her purse and knocks Georgia's sunglasses off. So Georgia, wearing her Indian jewelry rings, reaches down, picks up her sunglasses, and back knuckles the woman. Yeah! So, and she has to ride in the police car. And she asked the police officers, can't the girls just take me? No, Mrs. Stepp, you have to come with us. So she rode in the front seat so that nobody would think she'd done something wrong.
And she got, the lady pressed charges for assault, okay? But my mom counter-pressed, because the lady swung and hit my mom first. But my mom, if any of you guys know, where you see her right now, she wears turquoise jewelry on all, like she, at the time, on all of her, and she hit that lady, and I mean drew blood, split her eye open, drew blood, and so the lady let her face bleed all the way to the, because, I don't know if any of you guys know, it was Gary Brown Construction. Okay, it was Gary Brown's mother, big construction company here in town. It was his mother that she hit, but she hit when she punched her. I mean, the lady had an impression of my mom's turquoise in her face, and we went. And then she's hustling us. Sherry Mel was with us. She's hustling us in the van, and she says, "Come on, girls, get in." I go, "Mom, you just hit that lady." And she goes, get in, we're leaving. And she starts backing up, and the bailiff is running out, blah, blah, and it's at the old, where the Clovis Museum is now, it used to be the courthouse. So they come running out, and they said, Mrs. Stepp, we got to talk to you. So she said, I'll ride in the police car, but I'm riding in the front seat. And she goes, and I don't want to be handcuffed. And they put her in the front seat. They booked her and took her picture and gave her picture back to her. They gave her picture back to her. So somewhere there's her booking picture holding her little thing. And, yes, Mom. Okay.
I have a little note to that story too. This landlady, I found out from some of the girls that rent, you know, and when college school's out, they all go home. Well, these landlords take advantage of these kids, and they tag on different little things, you know. You had a golf ball in the stool, you tried to flush it, and we had to call a plumber, so, you know, we add on all these things. So what she told what she told the judge, the landlady, she said they were playing golf and
Tennis, Mom. If they found a tennis ball in the toilet.
tennis ball. And I said to myself, they don't play tennis, those kids. What they did, they saw a tennis racket out on their way, on their way to class, and they put it as a decoration in their house. Well, that landlord lady, she took it as they played tennis. So she reported that to the judge. And I said, no, that's not going to work. So that's when I hit her.
You straightened her out.
Yeah.
Straightened her
I
out.
said, you can't tell stories like that. That's not right. Those kids don't play tennis. And I just backhanded her like that, and those rings just cut. Anyway, she got cut. But I just thought, these landlords take advantage of these college kids because they want to get home and get out of there, and they just leave a trail of bills that they have to pay.
Yeah. I'm sorry? Yeah, got the deposit back. Got the deposit back plus serving plus the police officer that served her. Oh, they were mad. Okay, come on. Cass. Come on, we got some story. Cass, come here, come up here. You got some. She calls the Georgia on my mind. She calls my mom, Cass. She calls my mom. Are you going by Aha or Roach? Okay, this is Cass. Anyway, she calls my mom Georgia on my mind all the time.
Okay, this goes back to about 1976. I'm Cass. Aha, whatever. Anyway, it's a college rodeo in Mariposa, and we're all probably less than 21 getting drunk, and we're at the inside one of the buildings. There was a rodeo dance. We're all there. We're all stumbling around, and Georgia's, of course, dancing with us. And Georgia looks at me and says, Cass, if you had a third eye, you'd bleed to death. And I told her, Georgia, on my mind. Whatever.
She did. She used to use that all the time. If you had a third eye, you'd bleed to death.
Yeah, remember that one.
Claudia, you come on, you gotta have a Georgia story. 4-H story.
Yeah,
Claudia.
Georgia story, but it's
Just
tell everybody how old I am.
yeah, that's okay. Tell how old we are.
So, I'm Claudia Sansoni from Los Banos, and I've known them since they lived in Merced, and we were 4-H'ers, so beginning 4-H, like when you first get in, so that's how long ago that was. And so anyway, we would go to the 4-H shows. They'd come from Merced. We were from Los Banos Community 4-H, and one thing that I have to say about Debbie Stepp and Georgia Stepp is that they were at every event. Debbie competed and Georgia cheered her on. She was the best horse show mom that ever was, and rodeo mom and gymkhana mom, and she supported Debbie and all the kids, and she never knew a stranger. She was friendly with everyone, and I'm telling you, talk about competitive, very competitive, but always good friends.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you. We got some family leave. Georgia story, if you want to say. Dallas. Georgia story. Come on. Tell a Georgia story.
You gotta have something good to say.
You gotta state who you are. State who you are.
My name is Dallas.
Louder.
I'm Georgia's granddaughter. I remember one time me and Reed were, I don't know where we were going, but we were in the back of your van or the truck, and I was throwing my shoes up at her, and me and Reed thought it was funny. So she said, throw another shoe, I dare you. I have a wooden spoon under my seat, and I said, okay. So I found another shoe. It was one of ours, and I threw it up there, and she pulled over, and she whooped us with the wooden spoon.
Remember when you were down?
Oh.
Here's another one. Here.
Oh my God.
Here, listen to this. Listen.
So me and Reed,
Okay, real loud. You gotta tell them.
So me and Reed were, she was sleeping in the den, and me and Reed were, she had a breast implant removed. She had cancer, so she has one, whatever that's called.
She had breast cancer and she has a breast removed, so she has a prosthetic.
She has a fake boob. So me and Reed were jumping on the bed, and we were like, we thought it would be funny to put our bras on and put the fake boobs in each one and act like we had boobs. So we're jumping on the bed, and we look over, and she's standing there watching us. And I remember jumping down to the floor and laying flat, like she didn't see me. And Reed was like, we knew we were going to get our butts whooped, so we were just like, we kind of looked at her, and she ripped them off and was like, do you know how expensive these are? What are you doing in my stuff? And we thought it was funny. She whooped our little butts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we played
They were playing keep away with her plastic, with her prosthetic implants. They were throwing it back and forth. And Mom said, she goes, I told them I was going to whip their butt. And she says, and I whipped their butt.
Or with you.
Yeah, and I could just picture the prosthetics going back and forth across the bed. I could totally picture, because I would see them in there, and I'm going, oh my God, I can so see those things being thrown back and forth across the. I know. Lisa, you get up here. Lisa, you give speeches all the time, for Pete's sakes. You and your sister both are going to be under the gun here. Katie, you're next. Katie, you're next. You got a Georgia story.
I want to tell a Debbie story.
No.
Actually, a Jeffrey story.
Jeffrey. Where's
Jeffrey?
Jeffrey. Jeffrey.
We couldn't remember if Georgia was with us.
Jeffrey. Jeffrey. Wait, here he is. Jeffrey, you're being roasted. You're being roasted and Georgia's roasting.
So we can't remember if Georgia was with us or not. But Jeffrey was competing at the Senior National Finals in Reno. And for some reason, us girls had had enough partying, and we went back to the room. And Jeff walks in, and it's you and I and my sister in the bed.
Yeah.
And Jeff walks in, and he goes, Queen Latifah and her bitches. And we're like, what? Jeffrey? And he thinks he's going to jump on us, but he missed us and jumped in our suitcase on the other side of us, face first.
And the lid closed.
Yeah, and the lid closed on him. We died laughing.
He called us Queen Latifah and her bitches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll never live that one down.
I know.
I'll roast you on that one forever,
Yeah,
Jeffrey.
Absolutely.
No, my only Georgia story is when she went to the wrong funeral.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
It was a guy with a 10-speed
Yes. Yes.
bicycle, and Georgia had shown up at the funeral, and she had the pies, and she walked into the funeral, and the gentleman's bike was up in front of the church, and the service was already going on, and so she sat down with the pies and everything, and she went through the whole service. And then at the end of the service, she just wasn't recognizing the details about this gentleman that had died on his bike. And so at the end, she just couldn't figure it out, but she went up to the family to pay her respects, and she hands them the pies. And she sees the picture of the gentleman and realizes it's not the gentleman she knew, but she still gave the pies and paid her respects, and that was
One of my brother's friends.
Oh.
One of Danny's friends, and he was a biker.
Oh, that she was supposed to be at.
Supposed to be at.
Right.
Yeah, but she went to the wrong funeral.
Right. So Georgia, we've known you 35 years. Thank you for letting us be a part of your family for all of these years. It's been amazing. We absolutely love you, and you look amazing. Can we have this party next year, same weekend?
Yeah, Jeff said somebody else can have 101. Party 101. Jeff said someone else can have party 101.
Yeah, dang it,
Okay, I know. Uh-oh, Robbie's got a Georgia story. So this is Robbie Stepp.
You better be
He was the youngest graduate at Embry-Riddle flying thing. He flies for United, and he flies, Delta. Sorry, Delta. He flies overseas, and he's a captain.
Oh my goodness gracious. Where's Grandma? There she is. Hi, Grandma.
Grandma stories. Grandma stories. Okay, louder, Captain, for those
All right, so
non-hearing section.
during the summers, I would come over and visit with Debbie and Danny, and we would spend.
Louder.
We would spend the summer. I would spend the summers in Merced, and we would doing all kinds of stuff. We'd go fishing at the potholes and Merced River, and we'd go baling hay and picking weeds in the pasture and all kinds of fun stuff. But one time, Grandma took us fishing on the Merced River, Danny and I. So we're down there, and we're probably not more than 12. I was probably 12, 14 years old. No, it was Merced, right there, Merced River, where the highway goes right over the Merced River. So we're down there, and Danny and I we're tossing our rods into the water and trying to catch some fish. Well, another family comes along, and this huge river, you know, miles and miles, these kids decided to swim right where we were fishing. Well, Grandma looked down there, and she wasn't very happy about that, and so we came back up, and Grandma had something to say to the kids' parents or mom or something. And next thing you know, Grandma's brawling with the mom of the two kids that are down there bothering us while we're fishing. So she kind of let everybody know that, hey, you don't mess with my grandbabies and my son. So that was one of the stories. I'm sure I can remember some more, but there were snakes in houses. We lost snakes in the house before, and yeah. Okay, back at you.
Okay, speaking of brawling, so I think that's where I got my brawling from, is from my mom. So my sister, Reba, and I think Dello, did you come home? We were coming home. We were coming home from town, and here's my mom on Hatch Road, and my dad, and my mom is beating the crap out of the next door neighbor woman, and my dad is beating the crap out of the man. Right in the middle of Hatch Road in Merced, they're in a brawl with dogs jumping. I'm sorry? I didn't go to anger management for the Toby Keith concert, okay? I swear I didn't. Okay? That was somebody else. It was not me. So my dad's backing up to hit this guy, and my dad tripped and fell, and this guy stepped on my dad's throat and broke his vocal cords. Well, my mom proceeds to just pummel this woman for the guy stepping on my dad's throat. So she is, and she's big. She's a big. That gal was big, and Mom just proceeded to just tear the crap out of her, and then and I'm sure they had to go to court for that. They took us as witnesses, yeah, and the neighbors, yeah. So okay, so here's another one. So Della and I and Mom, this is Mom's first concert, guys. First concert was Toby Keith. Toby Keith and Blake Shelton at the Save Mart Center. First concert ever. Okay? I got great seats, perfect seats. We got blocking the view. She was enjoying, so enjoying. So we had drunk people, girls in front of us. Drunk. They'd gone through one bottle, sailed it down the steps, go into the second bottle. And they kept standing up and standing on their chairs, and Mom couldn't see. Then the people in back were screaming, sit down in front, and they were whatever, and the guys behind us were throwing popcorn at them and stuff, and the girl had her hair full of popcorn. They were young girls. So all of a sudden I reached over and I said, hon, can you sit down? I said, my mom can't see. This is her first concert. And she turns around and she goes, go to hell, drunk. And I said, okay. And so she stands up again, and this time they're standing on their chairs in front of my mom. And I leaned over and I said, I'm going to tell you one more time to sit down. And she said, F you, and flipped the bird, and the people in back of us were throwing ice at her and throwing things, sit down. So I reached over with her, and she had a little tank top on, and I took my nails, my well-manicured nails, and I spent a lot of money on my nails, and I physically sat her down, like dug my nails in her, and she's cussing. Ah, my neck, ah. And she leaves, and everybody's clapping. And Mom goes, good, I can see now. So they leave. So all of a sudden, it was probably 10, 15 minutes later, I feel a flashlight shine in my face. And I'm like, okay, this isn't me. What? You were going to say something, Mom? Were you going to say something? Okay. So I feel a flashlight, and I looked over, and they're giving me the finger like that. So, and I said, me? Like, yeah, you. So it's Clovis PD, it's Highway Patrol, it's Save Mart Center Security calling me out. So I go out, and I said, Della, you and Mom stay there, enjoy the concert. Because Toby Keith, Blake Shelton had finished, Toby Keith was coming on. So I went outside, and I'm looking, and they're taking pictures of this girl, and you can perfectly see my fingernails in her neck, all the prints of my fingernails, and they're taking pictures of her in the corner. And I said, shit, I think I'm in trouble. So they came over and took my statement. They said she could press felony charges against you. And I said, okay, whatever, let the DA. So I had to do 12 weeks of anger management. So, yeah, I did. So I was in there with girls that had slit their boyfriends' throats and everything. And then they said, one girl goes, what are you in here for? And I said, I sat a girl down at a Toby Keith concert, and she goes, how many weeks you got? And I said, 12. And we got 52 weeks, and you got 12 weeks. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. But she pressed charges on me. So, yeah, that was my mom's experience at her first concert. So, okay, come on. Phil, Fran, Phil. Reed, where's Reed? Oh, here we go.
Daddy, grab me by the nose.
Okay.
He must be like his mother. He's gonna back.
You got a big nose.
I know. You said I got a big nose. Here, give me that.
Well,
I gotta take.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Phil, Stepp,
Oldest brother.
and just a little thing that I got on Mom, or on me actually, and her. What are those things out there? Oh, I know. They weren't there before. Anyway, a few years ago, we were up in, we live in Mariposa, and I just got through with my EMT course and certification up there. And my mother just got back from Alaska and going up there and shooting caribou. And she got a caribou and everything, and she was telling us all about it. And then we were all in the living room of the house down on Hatch, and she was unpacking a lot of gifts that she had for us. And so we were down on the floor on the knees and everything, and she was going through the suitcases, and she put her hand down on a package of cellophane thing. You couldn't see through it, and she drew her hand up, and she held her wrist with her other hand, and we could see a knife, a kitchen knife, stuck right through her hand all the way through. So here I am, just got through with this medical thing, and I go to pieces. I mean, I'm on the floor and I'm saying this, doing this and everything, and my mother's not doing anything. She's just not saying anything. You know, she's just taking this in. So we all got her up and got her dressed and everything, went out to Castle Air Force Base to the doctors out there, and we all were saying, we didn't stab her, we really didn't, you know, and too much TV. But anyway, she took it like a trooper, and nothing bothered her.
My first experience with Georgia was, and you can blame her for everything, because years ago, when I started rodeo and everything else, I tried to ride bareback horses and broncs and all that stuff, and then I got into fighting bulls, and I was a young kid and looking for a job doing high school rodeos and junior rodeos, and Georgia was the first person who hired me. She was the secretary for District 5, and so she was the very first person who hired me and paid me my first deal to be able to do a rodeo. So if you want to blame anybody for me being around rodeo, you can blame Georgia, because she kept me around for all those years. And I've known Georgia off and on during the years and stuff, and known Debbie and Jeff and Reed, and she's always amaze me of her energy and compassion towards people and everything else. And I think that, we see her at a rodeo. We always try to, make sure that she's there. And I think my best memory of her that really brought it out is Debbie called me up and she said, Mom wants to carry the American flag during the grand entry at Mariposa Rodeo. And I'm like, okay. And small arena, anything could happen. The speakers are right there. It's really loud. And I said, okay. And I said, I knew she could do it, but at the same time, too, anything could happen. And so anyway, they used Rocky Stiegel's horse, and I guess they had her riding for about a week or so on Rocky's horse. And she come up there, and I could watch her over on the side as she's getting ready to go. And I was telling the crowd kind of what we were doing and being patriotic and everything else. I said, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I think you were 95 years old. And she comes in the arena and she's carrying the American flag and she's doing the patriotic tribute coming in. And so anyway, I can remember her going around that arena, did it just as good as anybody could, went around through there, sold it right at the very end and brought it in there, center deal. And the way she looked in the arena and the way that it meant to her, because she was trying to fill one of those bucket lists. And one of those bucket lists was to carry the American flag, and she did it. And she got a standing ovation that night, and it was just an honor to be there to watch her and everything else, and to see the crowd. And we've talked to her humor. Jeff, my hat goes off to you, buddy. I don't know how you put up with not only Georgia all these years and being the mother-in-law, but also putting up with Debbie, too, with everything and all the police reports and everything else. I didn't know about a lot of that stuff. But how about giving Georgia a round of applause? She has been an amazing person, and it is always a pleasure to see her. And, Georgia, you're always on our mind. Okay.
Okay, so Justin and JT have been playing here for you guys for your entertainment, and Justin so graciously volunteered for JT. He didn't know what he was getting into coming here, but we so appreciate them playing here, and just it's an honor to have him play. They've signed all kinds of record labels and everything, and he's played at some of the biggest PRCA rodeos around. Justin and his double average band.
Double average.
That's, huh? I'm sorry?
No, you're right.
Oh, Reed, can you come and say something real quick? Say something about your grandma. What would I say? Is it double average? Did I wrong? Was that right?
He walked right by you.
Oh, well, they're like, oh, you better go say something. And I just walked right by and kept walking.
I saw him go by, but I forgot he was supposed to.
Yes, this is my grandma, and she's been my grandma for a long time. No, only 23 years. Louder. Sit closer. What are you doing over there? We have a bunch of empty seats. Okay, grandma. Stories about her. Yeah, one time we went to a museum and she was pushing me in a wheelchair. So that's random. That was in Casper, Wyoming at some random museum we went to.
Oh, I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah, what else happened? One time I came home from a high school rodeo and I came to feed the horses and I walked around the grain bin, like where we have all our grain, and my grandma was in her older lady costume. Yeah, it's just an older lady that she wears. And, but yeah, she was just sitting there. Just, there's no other family members around. She just drove down, she's probably 95, and was just sitting there, and I walked by and I'm like, what are you doing, Grandma? And then she was just quiet for like a minute. She goes, if I can't break character, honey, whatever you do, you just can't talk. And I'm like, ah. Well, there's no one around us, so this is random. But, yeah, that's about it. I think we should play a game soon, Mom, after Justin gets in his Q zone.
Yeah. Thank you.
And we get to
Take my troubles to the highway. Throw me the river and show me.
like it's the other lady's personality. Yeah, you don't point what's broken and start fixing it. Since you live right there. Oh, it's a cat! It's a cat! Oh, look at that! Oh,